The main risk factors for preventable chronic diseases are tobacco use, lack of physical activity, and excessive alcohol use. The risk factors have caused unpreventable and preventable diseases like disability and death. To reduce these risk factors, prevent diseases or injury before it ever occurs, reduce the impact of a disease or injury that has already occurred, soften the impact of an ongoing illness or injury that has lasting effects. We all need to invest our time and money in improving healthy lifestyle behaviors by increasing physical activity and improving our diet. By doing this, almost 35% of early deaths will be avoided. Our integrative nutrition health specialist, Betty Olayinka Folari Akinlosotu, aka BOFA, advocates for this every Sunday on Health Corner and Nutrition segments showing on Healthy Living with BOFA channel, where she also features professionals on interview with experts segments. Join us every Sunday, 2 p.m. U.S. time, 7 p.m. UK and Nigeria time, 8 p.m. South African time. See you there.
According to the World Health Organization, health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just the absence of disease and illness. This is what people don't know. This is what people don't understand. They think well-being is about the absence of disease and illness. No. Listen, people, wellness can be affected by many things around us in our lives, such as our body, our mind, the environment we all live in, the spirit in us, community, emotions towards things or towards ourselves, finances, and our career, the work we all do. This can be affected. All this can be affected. This is the reason why in the nutritional world, we see primary foods more important than secondary foods. Because all this I mentioned, the environment, the community, your emotions, finances, and so on, they are primary foods. Yes, they are primary food. They are more important than secondary food. Why? Because primary food comes first before secondary foods. And I'm sure you've heard me saying this multiple times on this show, what these primary and secondary foods are. Primary foods are your education, career, creativity, finances, your relationship with others, and so on. They are inedible. You cannot eat them, yet they are food on your plate that feeds your souls, your body, and your spirit. Just like the secondary food, the edible foods on your plate, the fruits, the vegetables, the grain, the legumes, the nuts, the seeds, and more. Without 3 primary foods, education, creativity, and your career, no money in your pocket, forget it. You can't have this money for healthy food we're talking about. Because no one without these 3 foods gets wealthy and healthy. So today we are looking at how financial stress affects our health. In the house today, we have a financial expert who will be educating us on many ways these health issues can affect our lives, homes, career, and how it makes us feel that it is impossible to ever turn things around. So, welcome back to the show today again. I'm Betty Olayinka Folari Akinlosotu, your host. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Joining me on the show today to educate us more on this is a senior lecturer and a forensic accountant, Dr. Job Napoleon. Dr. Napoleon Burge Masters in Accounting and MBA in Finance, currently on a PhD research program in accounting and finance with specialization in forensic accounting and investigation in one university in the UK. Dr. Napoleon, you're welcome on Bofra's show. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you, viewers, and happy to meet you guys online.
Thank you so much. Dr. Joe, before we go into the details, I want you to do me a favor. And what is that favor? For the benefit of those who have no idea, who did not know what forensic accounting is, can you please tell us in 30 seconds what you do? What your responsibilities are as a forensic accountant?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, as a forensic accountant, we sneak fraud. There's no organizations that hurts human being and you can never is immune to fraud. So as a forensic accountant, we are proactive and also reactive when it comes to issues that have to do with fraud in organizations or even in the firm. Mm-hmm. So what we do that is quite different from auditors and other accountants is that we are able to make sure that we gather all evidence and also tender it in court. And that's what the word forensic accounting. So in summary, as a forensic accountant, what we do is that we involve in investigation, in prevention, and also in prevention of fraud in organization. And we are able to gather evidence that has to do with fraud and tender them in court as experts' evidence in case any arises. Prior to this time, there's been always a limitation between the accountants and also the fraud examiner. The accountant can set up a good internal control measure, and in case of any fraud, they will now employ the service of a lawyer to come and investigate and then tender such evidence in court. But we discovered that there are some lapses when that is done. So as there's a need now for a forensic accountant who will be able to involve in certain internal control system in organizations. Not only that alone, be able to make sure that in case of any fraud, they can gather the evidence and tender them in court as expert evidence. So that's what we do.
Good. Thank you so much. Wow. Now coming to that fraud part, and I want you to look at this from both sides. The fraudsters and the victim. The people that have been defrauded. And what health impacts can this attitude, whatever they put together, all this thing done to defraud others, what health impact can this act have on both parties?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, we live with the language of money. Money answered all things. And once there's shortage of money, it affects an individual because won't be able to meet up their day-to-day expenses. And also in a situation where the person probably have lost money. You discover that two parties now are involved. The person that lost the money and the person that stole the money. Now the person that lost the money is being kept to tidy up other transactory purposes or speculative purposes or precautionary reasons. That's why we demand for money. And by the time you have such ideas and you need this money and you can't get it because they've been stolen, it goes a long way to give a psychological effect.
That's true.
And for you who is stealing the money on the other side, once you are caught, you discover that you have to go through a litigation process, and at times you'll be in jail, and at times it can be life imprisonment. And once that happens, it also goes a long way to affect your health. Yes. An instance, it happens in Nigeria. A particular one-time governor of a state in Nigeria, let me not mention the name, was caught, and in the process, he collapsed in court. And he was rushed to the hospital and all that. He was psychologically traumatized because of the punishment being meted out for him for stealing such money.
Wow.
Without him knowing all too well that the money that was meant to set up the hospital for people that need to be treated, people are dying. The money that was set up, that was meant to set up, businesses that will help people to survive in their family, and such money is scattered away by him, people are dying. So you can now see that the issue of fraud has a two-way effect on the fraudster and also the person that's been defrauded.
Wow. Wow. And now let me go back to the example you gave that they collapse, they pass out. Don't you think they're doing that to disguise or to prevent them from being jailed? Or is it actually confirmed that by the doctor that they're actually having health issues? Is it true, or is just a disguise?
Normally, the public will always think that these people are trying to cover up, so they have to collapse in order to whip sentiment.
Because it's common. Everybody.
It does. But most often than not, it's not, because some of them even result to stroke. You understand? And the fraud, has a two-way effect, just like a two-edged sword. It affects the person that has been defrauded and also the person that is perpetrating the fraud. And I make an example that most often than not, some of them end up failing in court, and you now said at times they are failing it. No. Most often, in some situation, we are quite aware that these people at times lost their senses. You understand? And they undergo a medical examination, which at times certify the fact that they're actually psychologically depressed. Why? Because they're sort of shocked of what the public would take them for as ex-convicts. And not only that alone, they sort of become misfit in the society because people look at them as criminal. So it's not in all conditions. Like a typical example happened recently when one of the chairman of NDDC collapsed in court. He's a professor, a colleague of mine, but we went into thorough examination to discover that actually that guy was, traumatized, was bastardized psychologically, because he cannot withstand the kind of scandal that have befallen him and what people will say about him, and his career was just at risk. So I think most often than not, that's the after effect of people that commit fraud.
Wow. Now, we on this show, our goal is just to make sure that these all these conditions, all these problems, we don't want them to happen. We prevent it before they even happens at all. So which we call preventive care. Now, if we want to prevent this, what will you say as your advice to either the people that are being defrauded or the people that that are defrauding people, those fraudsters and the victim? What will you advise them? If you don't want to be scammed, you need to be very vigilant. You need to be sensitive in keeping your vital information, keeping them secured. You need to have constant idea of how to make this thing safe. And here it's the same thing. But one thing I learned was when this person was telling me that you have to keep your things safe away from these people, anybody around you, not even your family. I realized that even if it happens, let's say it happens to people that just don't care about how to keep all these things safe. If that happens here, you still get your money back within 24 hours. In fact, they will credit your account. I'm talking about the bank issue now, and make them scam me or defraud me, do a lot of things on my account. The bank will credit your account immediately. Then they will continue with investigation. That's what they do here. When they now realize that you are actually the one that, do the transaction, they will withdraw the money back from your account, even if you have spent the money. This thing is not happening in Nigeria like that. The bank will tell you that there's no way they can get the money back, and they are not refunding the money back to your account. Now, the advice you can give to those people, I mean the victim, is what I want you to tell them now.
Actually, it depends on the nature of fraud. Before fraud is being perpetrated, it involves two parties. Fraud don't just happen in the air. There will be, an offer and acceptance, and then there will be defraud. You understand? Mm-hmm. So most often than not, I always like advising people that before you can go into any transaction, you should be able to have a sound knowledge about it. And if possible, seek the services of a lawyer to get into an agreement between you and the other party. Mm. But in this age of internet, you discover a lot of persons just, and then if you don't know what's happening, your account is being emptied. That's why they need to become computer savvy. They need to become digitally savvy. So they get to know those links. Okay, for instance, there are some of these HTTPS, then double, a colon. Mm-hmm. If you see such, a web link, mm-hmm. you should know that it's secure because they have an X. But there are some of these web links with that X means is very open, and then I want to advise some person that you should be careful of the link you click on. Some of this link online just contacted me and was telling me, guy, that I paid up to 3.5 million naira for my daughter to have admission in Poland. And to me, I look, it's crazy. How can somebody on the other side know you've not got into any person, and yet you are sending him up to 3.5 million naira for your daughter admission in Poland? Man, it calls for question. It means you are not careful here, and you don't know what is obtainable in the world. We are no longer in the analog world; we're in the digital world. Yes. Just with a click of a finger, your account is being cleared. So you need to be very careful for who you are dealing on the other side online, so that you'll be able to know whether it's a trusted website or it's not a trusted website. And that would necessitate you, or that would inform you or whether to continue with such a transaction or not. Most often than not, you may say it's a trusted website, but I always like telling people, while you're online, deal with organizations. Most fraud that we have in Nigeria, I always tell a lot about admission fraud. I want my son to go abroad, and so I want a company that can help my son to go abroad. Mm-hmm. Or I want to ship in some foodstuff or some goods from the UK or America, and so I want to pay in this money. No, please. Don't trust an individual. Always go for an organization. Seek for an organization that you can sue them in case of any default before you can engage in such kind of transaction. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily anybody that come online and tell you I have this to sell and you go on clicking that to send the money. Things are not done like that. Then that is as regard individual. Mm-hmm. But at times what we call corporate fraud. The people might be here, following up with a phone call, mm-hmm. and they may even send an emissary who will meet you one-on-one. If you peradventure have an encounter with any of them and your money is about exchanging hands for goods and services, mm-hmm. please get the services of a lawyer. But if you can't get the service of a lawyer, then seek proper advice so that your money will not go just for nothing. Then at times, it may not necessarily be such kind of transaction, but it could be a corporate fraud where there are syndicates in between line dealing with organizations that have given you a track of record of what they have done in time past and now they can do it again. Please, in such kind of dealing, make sure I have a second or a third party who will be able to record it and have your own evidence. So in case it results to fraud, you'll be able to tender your evidence in court or any outing that will be able to trace it. Then most often than not, I always like dealing with people that have emails. Not only emails, make sure that you have their phone numbers. And if you have their phone number, they have their email, then you have their website. I think you should be properly guided. So in case of any act of fraud or any act of a crime against you, you'll be able to follow up suit. And I want the public to know that in this age, in as much as we have technology and all that, we also have people who are experts in tracking down some of these issues, so you'll be able to be properly guided. So I always like telling people that, look, number one, seek for proper advice, then get experts if you are not sure whom you're dealing with on the other side, who will be able to advise you what to do. Then most often than not, always seek to have a one-on-one interaction with them. If you do all these things, you'll be safeguarding yourself against fraud. Because in this age of computer, in this age of digital appliances, you discover a lot of people are falling victims to a lot of things, and it has gone a long way to cause a lot of problems to some persons. I think in a nutshell, if we follow all this, we'll be able to make sure we safeguard ourselves against fraud.
Thank you. Now, you mentioned lawyer, that if you want to do a business that you think is suspicious, you hire a lawyer to handle. What role will lawyer play in these fraudulent activities to unveil the unknown ideas of the fraudsters? What role would they play? Will they be able to discover that, oh, this is a fraudulent act? Tell us.
Now, before fraud is committed, I've earlier said it involves two parties. And if there's a third party who will be at the background to make sure they get adequate information, not only that alone, even recording of your transaction, you discover that you who are about to be, you who is going to be a victim, you might be, a little bit self-guided. So the function of a lawyer now is to enable him, follow up, advice, and be sure that the person you are dealing with, your partner you are dealing with, is out to defraud you or is really genuine. As a lawyer and also as a forensic expert, we have a good internal control measure to put on ground to make sure that we follow suit and be very sure that the person you are dealing with on the other side, once you tell the person that this discussion we are having is recorded, if it is feeling very uncomfortable that your discussion with the person is being recorded, you can sneak that something's on the offing. And more often than other times, you also be able to make sure that, you tell the person that, can we meet in a Zoom meeting, just like we are doing now, for a third party to participate. If the person feels very reluctant, then you can also, begin to see that this person is not genuine. I think these are some of the measures. And what the lawyer does is that in a situation where you are being, defrauded, he'll be able to gather his evidence such that it will be obtainable in the court as expert witness. If it's a corporate fraud, what we forensic accountants do is that we are able to make sure that we have expert evidence, and we get to the core of even the website, the web links, and even the third person, and we'll be able to follow suit to tender correct evidence about your other partner that is dealing with you if it's online activities. So you either get the service of an expert, a forensic accountant, or a lawyer who will be able to gather your evidence and tender them in court in case there's any act of a crime or you are being defrauded.
Okay. Now you said that forensic accountants deal with fraud, meaning that it is when the person is being defrauded, the case will be brought to your attention, then you will start investigating. So you work like Interpol, right? Something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. We are the interface.
Okay. Now, if I don't have any idea that this person is trying to scam me, I won't be thinking of coming to you, because people have an idea that it is when people got defrauded, you will now, your case will be, taken, you will report to the police, law enforcement, you take it up, they start doing investigation. Is it possible to hire a forensic accountant while the transaction is still in process? Like we're still changing documents, we're signing documents. Is it possible to bring forensic accountants in that process before
Definitely.
I got scammed?
Actually, as a matter of fact, once money is being involved and money is changing out for goods and services, the services of a forensic accountant become indispensable. Because at that point, he will be at the background as a background check on you, who is engaging in this transaction, and the other person who is on the receiving side. So it's very expedient that you hire the service of a forensic accountant. That is as dealing with individual. But when you're dealing with a corporation, a forensic accountant should be able to should be able to put on ground a good internal control measure that is not only reactive when fraud comes up, but protective, in other words, proactive to forestall fraud whenever it's about to occur.
Yes. Our people are so gullible. I'll use that word because
yeah, definitely. The masses as a whole are
we can be easily persuaded to believe something ridiculous or credulous. Now, if I found myself in this situation, let's say got scammed, because a lot of things are going on in Nigeria, even among the elite, the educated ones, people that think they have experience, nobody can scam me, they still got defrauded. Trust me. And this is a business, a very huge business that went through smooth process, clear and clean process. And at the end of the day, because these people we're talking on the other side, they are smart and they know how to manipulate things. They make everything possible. They make their paperwork done perfectly. Like you don't guess, you don't see any suspicious acts coming your way. But eventually it happens. What do we do? Now, if I got myself in this kind of things, what is this step do I have to take to get my money back, if that is possible? Now, if I take that step, is it possible to get my money back? That's what I want you to tell us.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, that's why I said you should be able to deal with an organized body. Don't always, the public need to know that you should be knowledgeable in financial transactions. And not everybody online that you should deal with when it comes to the issue of changing money for goods and services. Most often than not, some of these people, as individuals, they are fraudsters. But should in case a corporation become, a gang up itself to defraud you, it's very easy. That's why the knowledge of financial intelligence comes in here now, where they are fraudsters. But should in case a corporation become, a gang up itself to defraud you, it's very easy. That's why the knowledge of financial intelligence comes in here now, where you should be able to know who you are dealing with, who are there, where are they, and what they are after. Then get a good knowledge about what they have done in the past, and then get one or two ideas or what somebody in the past or somebody that they have dealt with. Always ask them, if people said you have done this, can you give me a link of somebody you have dealt with before? They will not tell, okay, we've dealt with so A or B or C or D. Please, it behoves you to go back to them to be sure that these people are there. Most of the time, when you click on the link, you see all the kind of people that they have dealt with. If you have their link, go back to those people, their customers, and find out from them who are these people before you can commit your money into their hands. Don't always feel that, oh no, they have studied fraud psychology. Most often than not, before you are being defrauded, you have a psychological effect. Because 1, you trust. 2, you become gullible. Then 3, you now see that money is being exchanged. So in that process of linking you up, you yourself as somebody who wants to receive the goods and services in the exchange of your money should be able to know who is on the other side. Who are there? What have they done? What's the track of record? Are they trusted individuals? Okay, can I get a link about them? Can I get your phone number? Can I get your email? Okay, can I have a track of record, a historical background of what you people have done in the past?
By the time you ask all these questions, we call them propping questions. If the people have an intention to defraud, they become careful. But if they are genuine, okay, for instance, today somebody called me, said, Doc, I want to send in $500 to an organization in London in respect of a mission for my daughter. And I asked him, can you give me the web link? And incidentally, it's a trusted university in the US. I told him that you are at liberty to go ahead because I know this university, I know what they have done, I now have a track of record about them, and I know how we can reach them. And I also have links as a certified fraud examiner in the US of some of our members that can give me information about them. I think that guy became a little bit assured that the money is going to invest in, he's going to make sure that he gets back his result. So these are some of these things you should be able to know as somebody who is trying to deal on online business and exchange of money for goods and services. Reach them. And I also have links as a certified fraud examiner in the US of some of our members that can give me information about them. I think that guy became a little bit assured that the money is going to invest in, he's going to make sure that he gets back his result. So these are some of these things you should be able to know as somebody who is trying to deal on online business and exchange of money for goods and services. First of all, go for correct information, go for trusted website, and be able to make sure that you have a third party who will be able to give you the historical background of the people you're dealing with.
Yes,
if you do all these things, you're so sure of safeguarding yourself against fraud.
Yes, you said all this. This is all we need to have handy if we are actually dealing with, trusted party. Sure. Now, if we have all this information, that's the question I asked, and I want you to tell us, because if I'm a victim today, and eventually I'm able to recover my money back, other people will, if I'm not able to recover my money back, people behind me will learn from me that, oh, it has happened to her. She was unable to recover the money back. So they will be careful, right? So that is why I'm asking that. Is it possible to get the money back, due to your own investigation you are doing, both you and the law enforcement, the police or whoever is involved in fraud investigation? Will they be able to, the victim to recover the money back? Is it yes or no? Yeah. I just want to know.
Yes, it's possible if you are dealing with a trusted, an organized body.
Okay.
But if you are dealing with an individual,
if it is not an organized, body?
Then I advise you, don't go into such a transaction.
That means your money is gone, right?
Completely gone. If you are dealing with an individual you are not trusted, as I already pointed out, okay, there are some of this website, HTT, and all that. If you see HTTS, means a trusted website. But you see HTT, then double colon, all that. It's not a trusted website, it's an individual website. And you are at that point, you are vulnerable, anything can happen. Hello?
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear now. Okay, yeah, you're back.
Good. Thank you so much, Dr. Napoleon, for giving us all this information. The next question I want to ask is this. We know that things have happened so many times, especially in our country. Let's go to the government level now, because we want to talk about it, because we have a body that takes care of this kind of fraudulent, activity going on within the country, within the government. We have seen many people being arrested by EFCC and found guilty and sent to jail. Elite, powerful people who hold a disproportionate amount of wealth, privilege, political power, or skills in a group such as directors, managers, supervisors, find guilty of financial misconduct and sentenced to jail for that misconduct. What is the self-inflicted health and physical impact on this act of the group of people and the whole government itself? And what is your advice to this?
Okay,
to the government or to the
now thank you very much. Actually, on the people that are being caught for defrauding the nation, apparently some of them have ended up in jail. Some of them have gone to life term in prison and they cannot come out. And even if they come out, they come as convicts. But you see, if you look at it critically, in Nigeria, we always have a reactive approach to fraud instead of having a proactive approach. In other words, it's only after fraud might have been perpetrated that we can now begin to hire services of fraud to counter all that. But I always advise, and we should have done enough research on this, that we should ensure that EFCC, ICPC, and all executive fiat being signed recently should be proactive. You discover that most often than not, some of these people steal this money and stash them abroad at the expense of the common man. There are no good hospital back home when somebody is sick of other simple sickness like cancer or whatever that should be treated and properly diagnosed behind here. Back home, they end up going to a place like South Africa, and they go to South Africa. Who are the people that own that hospital? Our people. So you can see that it's not the best that this act should continue. They end up stealing this money and build mansions, build hospitals, and build a lot of sophisticated outfit out there at expense of the common man. But I'm happy with what happened recently in Nigeria that we are gradually tracking this thing and becoming, can I say, a little bit, sincere about fraud detection and investigation in Nigeria. And besides that, I want the public to know that the issue of fraud in Nigeria is political, because most often than not, some of the people who are being arrested, they have good some people, or they go about to give huge amount of money, and if you know what's happening, you are being discharged and acquitted at the expense of the common man. If you come back home, there's excruciating poverty. Our people don't have boreholes. Hospitals don't have good diagnosis centers. Not only that alone, our roads are impassable. Our educational system is collapsing. But people back home here can afford to steal and go and stash about to open high institutions in Dubai, in South Africa, and Ghana at the expense of the common man. I think it's high time Nigerians should have a rethink and think of the common man and think that if I told him or steal, in quotes, steal to invest back in your country. So the multiply effect will be felt by the common man in your country, but not to steal and go and touch outside and thereby they have a multiply effect at the expense of your country. Even when you are caught, you should be able to make sure that if I'm caught and this money be invested back in my country, the multiply effect will be to the common man. But however, I don't subscribe to fraud, so I cannot say where you're caught or not caught. You understand?
Now, thank you so much, Dr. Job. Let's talk about the bank, because when I heard that if you lose money, so this kind of scammers, a lot of things happens in Nigeria. Maybe they lay their hands on your phone is stolen, and they eventually have all the informations on your, many people do their transaction over the phone, and all their informations are saved on that phone. And once that phone is stolen, everything disappears.
Hello?
Now.
Yeah, I can hear you loud.
Okay. I'm talking about the bank responsibility and roles in this coming, because I learned that some people within that organization, from the bank, are part of these fraudulent acts. Because if there is no insider, no one can get into any home, any office, any organization. So for me to be able to just send you account and send the money to my account, and the person that owns the money cannot recover the money back, and the bank is telling me, oh no, you are careless, you let people steal your bank information, and that's it. No, Your advice to that bank, I want you to talk about it. Like, what are these, measure, the safety measure, the roles of this bank needs to play in this? Because if I put money in your account, in your bank, and somebody just come from nowhere and just wipe away all my money, and you are telling me you can't find the person, how is the person able to get the money out of my account? It is not me. I came to you and I said that I didn't do it. So you should be able to do your investigation. Where did the money go to? Is it, person to person that comes to the counter cashier to collect the money, or is it transfer? They should be able to be helping people with that. That is what is giving me concern, that why is bank not doing that? Is there anything we need to figure out? Is there anything we need to know? Or we need to tell the bank that if you are not able to do this for your customer, because your client should be your priority, not the fraudsters. You understand? But this is not happening in Nigeria. What do you think you can tell the banks on this?
Well, if we just say this is not happening in Nigeria, it's not correct, because as a researcher, I've been able to, look at, the position of the bank as regard fraud in Nigeria. And if the bank is the go between you and the fraudster, and your money gets to the fraudster through the bank, if you are careful enough to make sure that you have your evidence, you can go and swear affidavits and then take it to the bank. After swearing your affidavit, you take it to the bank. The bank are obliged, as a matter of obligation, to make sure that they follow up to track your money. Should in case the fraudster have already taken the money out of the bank, currently we have what we call bank verification numbers. Yes. Everybody that have an account with the bank have a BVN. Yes. And the bank will be able to keep track of that account, and should in case any money gets into that account, they'll be able to track it down and say that this account is under, it's under suspicion. I mean the suspicion, and they'll be able to follow up and then retrieve your money for you. Most often than not, what the bank can do, once you can tender evidence and make sure that you are able to issue affidavit in court and tender it for the bank, what the bank will do, what the bank are obliged to do, is that they will be able to follow it up through the police. And before know what is happening, they will download the BVN detail of the person that have that account and declare that person a fraudster and begin to follow up. And I want to tell you that most often than not, they end up tracking those individuals. Okay. So as it stands now in our country, Nigeria, I think the bank are up to something reasonable, and I must give them a very good, remark that they're doing just well. But it becomes a problem when there's an insider, in other words, syndicated fraud. Yes. That there's a bank itself have somebody inside who is conniving with an outsider to defraud you, the third party. And that's where it becomes a problem where you'll be able to travel. So at that point in time, you can sue the bank where your money went to. And if the bank cannot give you adequate information about the owner of that account, you can sue the bank.
Exactly. That is, I'm sorry to cut you short. The reason why I asked that question was a brother of mine sent money home, $1,500. In fact, I was the one that helped him did that transaction. And he sent it to a brother of his and gave all the information to retrieve the money from the bank. I have no idea how this man from nowhere went to the bank and withdrew the money. And the person that owns all the information that is responsible, that's the right person to collect the money, couldn't get the money. When he now called me, I'm like, this sounds so ridiculous. Are you telling me that the person that you gave all the information to wasn't the one that collect the money, retrieve the money from the bank? He said, no. Okay, you know what? Just go straight, call the bank manager. Tell the manager that both the person you said, if that person insists that he wasn't the one that gave out the information, there's no way the information to collect the money, to retrieve the money, will be leaked out without either the person that owns the information to collect it or the bank. Both of them need to be arrested. And exactly what I told him, he did. At the end of the investigation, the bank manager and the cashier and the person that holds all the information that's supposed to collect the money and the person that collected the money, they are inside the box. They are working together.
Yeah.
I said, okay, it's simple. Just call a lawyer. I gave him the number. Call a lawyer. Everybody must be locked up.
Sure.
Everybody must be locked up. So the bank now started begging, please don't go to the court. How much do you want to? Let us settle it. I said, charge them $300 million. I said, this is a cool money for you. After the begging, you know, Dobale and this and that, we were able to get about maybe 55 million. Yeah, he was paid 5 million for, you know, inconveniences and the depression, the stress, you know, time wasted. And listed all that.
It's even mild.
5 million. Yeah. And the money, 1,005, including the 5,000, 1,005 and the 5 million, because the director of that, the branch, they were now, you know, running ups and down. That's okay. We need to settle this, must not go public, must not be affected and stuff. So if they are able to control all this, to stop it within their organization, I don't think they should be losing money. 5 million is not a small money to just pay out like that for the carelessness, the negligence of that organization from, you know, getting the right people into their organization. A lot of people have, you know, they have wasted time. They have closed down their offices. They have gotten a bad reputation about their organization because they are unable to recruit the right people into their organization. And a lot of people cannot do this. They just scam them. The money just disappear and they fold their hands. I guess because we are here and this man is able to have someone that have knowledge of the right thing to do. That was the reason why he was able to retrieve the money and also sue them and get paid for damages. So this is what I think we need to do in
That's very interesting.
Because a lot of people have developed high blood pressure, depression, mental illness, because when you have a little money in the bank and it's disappear like that,
that's true.
A lot of people I send money to, oh, they stole my phone, everything in my sister, she was one of the victims, but not all of this will be able to survive it. And this is part of the things that cause a lot of health problems in our community. People think it's because you are eating food that is high in sodium, which is, you know, salt, to bring your blood pressure up. That is what people think. They have forgotten that a lot of things that happen around us, stress, these mental, psychological things that happen around us can even give us all these health problems, can turn us to be what we don't expect it to be. And I really appreciate you for coming on the show to think.
Thank you very much.
Of giving this information out, because when I tell people that, okay, we have accountants coming to this, really, what is accountant got to do with health? Now look at the way we bring it to the people. Oh, I'm telling you, thank you so much. You've been so wonderful.
Thank you.
People, I need you to
hear
this. I need to say this, viewers. If I refuse to let it out of my mind, my spirit, my soul, and my body will not be at rest. I came across a sentence.
That's true. Thank you.
When I was going through my guest profile, before you go, Dr. Job, I need you to listen to this.
Yeah.
I was going through my guest, Dr. Job profile. I read something that stole my heart. And I'm going to read it exactly as it is written. I want you viewers to listen to this, because everything happens in life, we learn from them, and we must continue to learn to adjust our own life. I'm going to read it exactly it is written. And I quote, "It might interest you to know that I am confined and moved with the aid of wheelchair because of attacks of polymyelitis on my both legs. polio infection, and he confined him to wheelchair till now. But he continued, said, I have not given up. Rather, I have converted my lemon to lemonade, making an appreciable impact on humanity. I remain modern day shining example of ability in disability. This message weighs millions of weight on my heart since that day I read the message. This message seated upon my soul. I feel so lifted, inspired, encouraged, and motivated to do more. You know why I'm touched by this message? I am touched because if someone that is permanently confined to a wheelchair can make an impact on humanity, who the hell am I? Or are you to find service to humanity unimportant?
Thank you.
And gentlemen,
thank you.
We need to make more impact in the society and any community we find ourselves in. As you can see, the government is doing nothing, absolutely nothing to make things or nation conducive or comfortable for anybody, especially people that live in Nigeria. I'm talking to my people back home. So we are left to deal with the situation. And what is this situation? Taking care of each other. We must support one another. And one of the ways we can do this is by making sure we don't steal, we don't destroy one another. It does affect emotionally, mentally, even physically. Let us do our best and leave the rest to God. And he would definitely, definitely take care of the rest. Thank you so much, Dr. Job Napoleon, for this wonderful education you gave us today. It's been a pleasure and honor to have you on the BOFA Health and Nutrition Talk Show interview with experts segment today. I pray for good health, God's mercy, favor, peace, and abundance blessing for you. We do appreciate your support and love for this initiative. God bless you, sir. Have a good night and wonderful weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, sir.
Very much.
Bye.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, people. Oh my goodness. This is where we are going to stop for today. Thank you so much for being on the show, for being part of us today. Please join us next week while we bring you another edition on health and nutrition. I remain your host, Betsy Olayika Fulani Akelosotu, aka BOFA, an holistic nutrition specialist and wellness advocate. Good night, everybody. See you next week. Bye.